So Football Manager 24 is getting close to the end of its life cycle now, and we'll soon start to look ahead to the next game, FM25. But in the time that I've spent playing this game, I've came across a ton of players that I've liked, whether they're Wonderkids, bargains, or top level players that I've used in my rebuilds and have turned out to be amazing for me. So today I wanted to highlight them, hopefully to give you guys some players to potentially look at in your save if you haven't already, or maybe just so you can see my picks and let me know yours in the comments down below. Now I've picked 11 players in my team, but first I'm just going to cover some honourable mentions, some players that don't quite make the list for me but just missed out. Karim Konate is one of those. Yes, a Wonderkid striker. Not everyone in this video will be Wonderkids, but he is an unbelievable player. A bargain at 16-17 million will score you 10-15 goals in the Premier League in your first season if that's the kind of level you're managing in, and eventually will go on to be one of the world's best strikers. He's an absolute gem. Sometimes doesn't leave Salzburg for a little while as well, but sometimes I've ended up selling this guy on within a couple of years for 90, 100 odd million quid. So this guy has to be in my honourable mentions. Facundo Torres is another one that doesn't quite make the list. He's someone that I used so much at the start of FM24, but not so much now. The Uruguayan 23-year-old, what a player, able to play anywhere alongside that front attacking line. 5, 6, 7 million from the MLS. With the quality he's got, he's never going to let you down. He's a bargain at that price and one of the best in the game at that kind of level of money. And then there's Calvert-Lewin, someone that for years in FM has been far better than he is in real life. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but in Football Manager, if you stuck him at the worst team in the league, he'd still score 25-30 goals. I've had him move in a few saves onto Saudi Arabia for crazy money. He is an unbelievable striker in Football Manager, mainly because he's got them great physicals, but he has to be one of my favourites this year. I've never noticed before though that he can play centre-back. I don't know where that comes from, if he's ever done it before, but DCL, what a guy. If anyone's used him in FM, you definitely know what I'm talking about. But that's my honourable mentions out the way, and now we'll get into my proper breakdown of my 11 favourites. Now, this is a little bit recency bias. Sometimes it changes. It's never usually set. But currently, as we come to the end of FM24, I think these are my favourites. Now, do let me know yours in the comments and make sure you like the video if you do enjoy it. I want to hear your options down below because maybe we can make a video on them in the future. But let's see who we've got in this list. And of course, we have to start in goal. Now, my option here has changed a lot throughout the years, but at some point, I always come back to Dennis Simon, or the other way that you might pronounce his last name, which I don't think is right, which I'm not going to do. We'll call him Simon for now. But he's playing for Stuttgart. He's 17 years of age, is available at a bargain fee, and near enough always goes on to be one of the world's best goalkeepers. He is probably the best Wonderkid goalkeeper this year, and I do tend to buy my goalkeepers quite young, so he has been one that's done wonders for me across so many rebuilds, which, by the way, if you want to check any of them out, you can find them on my channel, linked in the description down below. But yes, Dennis Simon, what a goalkeeper. I'm sure he's probably many of your favourites as well. In terms of other goalkeepers that cross my mind, I think Anthony Patterson was maybe up there from Sunderland, and Nicholas Heidel as well, who comes from Rapid Vienna, I think, in Austria. But for me, Dennis Simon has to take that #1 spot. I debated my left back a little bit between Miguel Gutierrez and Brandley Locco, but I've decided to go for Miguel Gutierrez of Girona. What a player he is, particularly after the winter update that they did in Football Manager when some of the Girona players got a boost in their attributes, and Gutierrez now is exceptional. 21 years of age, could play for the best teams in the world and look comfortable. Usually leaves Girona at the end of his contract, so you can sometimes get him either for free or if you get him a couple years earlier at a cut price deal. But even if you're paying 30 million for this guy, he is insanely good. Mentally, physically, technically, the guy has got it all. Formerly of Real Madrid, no wonder he has got so much talent, but he is someone that if you can get your hands on, you won't regret having him in your team. And quite a recent addition to my lineup is going to be Jared Brantwaite, and I say recent addition because I hadn't really used him too much before. He's another one that I think was boosted a little bit in the winter update for his performances with Everton. Obviously unlucky to miss out on the Euros for England, but it was only in some recent rebuilds where I've actually signed him because Everton got relegated, and another one that I did with Everton, I was able to use him, and he is insanely good. Now, he doesn't quite look it straight away, but I think it's because he's 6'5" and has great physicals. This guy's a monster. He ended up scoring me 15 goals in one season from centre-back, was my top goal scorer in my whole squad in one of my rebuilds. That's how good he is, and if that doesn't earn someone a spot on my favourite team of the year, then I don't know what will. Jared Brantwaite, what a phenomenal player, and he's only going to be better going forward in FM25, where I'm sure he'll be upgraded even more. more. He's now a West Ham player, but this year, signing Todibo from Nice was a must-have at any major club that I manage. Obviously, if you're a lower down team, you can't get your hands on him, but if you are a team, say Manchester United, looking for a new centre-back, Todibo was always the man for me. Physically dominant, mentally really well-rounded, but then technically probably one of the most gifted centre-backs with the ball at his feet in world football, in Football Manager. I'm not saying in real life, but this guy's a ball-playing defender, is insanely good. He's got the marking, the tackling, the ball-playing ability. He's quick, he's strong, he's good in the air. This guy has it all. 6'3", genuinely the perfect centre-back in modern-day football. Yes, 40-odd million is quite a lot, but you're always getting your money worth with him. You are usually buying him with a major team, but I've had so much success with Todibo, and I imagine a lot of you guys will feel the same. Some centre-backs that were unlucky to miss out was Kylian Sedelia of Freiburg and Umar Soleil as well, who I think is another top talent. But for me, Todibo and Branthwaite are probably my two favourites that I've used this year. And then at right back, I've decided on going for Yukinari Sugawara. Now, I know that I did a video about some of my favourite overpowered players in FM. That was back in like March, April time, and then Sugawara made my team, and he still does now. The guy is so good. He's gone to Southampton in real life, and in the one game I've actually seen him play, I thought he looked pretty good in a poor Southampton team, to be honest. But Sugawara looked like he is going to be a good player. He can play anywhere alongside that right flank. He's playing for AZ Alkmaar here in FM24, and you can pick him up for about 15 million. Lots of clubs do want him, and it's no surprise. He's great going forward, great defensively, but technically, as far as fullbacks go, he has got the lot: crossing, passing, first touch, long shots, dribbling ability as well. He is a great talent. Is he maybe good enough to play for, say, a Real Madrid? I'm not too sure, but for any like lower mid-table Premier League team, he will be a brilliant player for you. Moving into the midfield now, and we have a player from RB Salzburg. They always have gems in FM, and this guy is certainly one of them. It's Croatian midfielder Luka Sukic, who you can usually pick up for under 20 million. As far as midfielders go, I know you might look at some others out there and think they're better, and that's fine. I'm not saying these guys are the best, just my favourites, but Sukic I have so much success with. I've bought him at this age, at this ability, stuck him in the Premier League in a Mazzala role in the midfield, and watch this guy get so many goals in a season. He is a physical monster in the middle of the pitch, which you don't always see from an attacking midfielder. He's really good technically, but he does have the physical power to back it up, and he'll score tons of goals from late runs into the box, from edge of the box, whatever it might be. He is a really good talent, and for that much money, I think he is a must buy. I think I bought him in an Everton save, it might have been, not too long ago, where he did really well for me. It doesn't take too long either before he becomes world class. You can see the elements of what he could become here already, with great attributes in every area that he needs, and with some development, he will not only be a fully fledged Croatian international on a regular basis, but he will be a top level Premier League talent and one of the world's best midfielders. Up next in my midfield is someone that I won't spend too long on because I've covered him in so many videos before. Severe House of Naipan Rosenborg, 16 years of age, one of the highest potential players in FM24, available for a few million quid. If you're a top level club, get him in and he will end up becoming one of your best midfielders. But the best thing about him is if you get him early enough, you can get him with a lower down team as well. I'm not saying like League One Championship, but if you're a low level Premier League side and you've got a few million quid to spend, there's a good chance you can attract Naipan and he will grow in to one of the world's best, guaranteed. He's a superstar, a brilliant midfielder, and has to be one of my favourites. But a fellow Norwegian that I wanted to include is someone that's had a big effect on some of my rebuilds recently, where I've gone, wow, this guy is just insane. It's Isaac Hansen Aron. He's an 18-year-old Norwegian player playing for Werder Bremen out in Germany in the Bundesliga, recently signed from Manchester United. I don't know if that was a January move, but it was only after January where I first started seeing him after the winter update had gone. Now, I don't know whether that's because he was boosted or he did move to Werder Bremen, but that's when he came on my radar, because for a few saves in a row, he actually got given an opportunity at Werder Bremen, and when he does get given that opportunity, he can grow to be a very good talent. Now, I'm not saying he's the highest potential midfielder in the game or anything like that, but it's just the attributes that he does have mean that if he can grow, if you do get a good version of him, he'll be so good. So I once saw him when he was 2021, and at that point he had vision, passing, technique, dribbling and first touch all on a dark green level of like 16, 17. That's how good he is. He did have some weaknesses in his game outside of that, but in terms of a creative ability, I've not seen many players like him. I played him as a number 10 for a while. I've also played him in central midfield, bought him in a few different rebuilds. If you get him at 18 and develop him, he'll do really well, but sometimes just let him chill at Werder Bremen. He will play, he will develop, and by the time you find him, he is going to be an unreal player. And if you're going to check out anyone in this video, check him out, because I feel like he's so underrated this year, and he's someone that I really should have given more credit to all year round. Ernest Nuama is another one of those from my previous video that I did a few months ago that still retains his place. He is an absolute beast of a player in Football Manager. He plays for Lyon. He's on loan from one of their affiliate clubs, RWD Molenbeek. They're a Belgian side, and in real life, the expectation, I think it might have even already happened, is that he'd spend a year at Lyon on loan, and then they'd sign him permanently from their affiliate club, so they didn't have to do it in last season's transfer window, and therefore they can bank the money the year after. But in FM, it doesn't work like that, and it tends to be Lyon won't buy him. He'll then chill in the Belgian divisions at a cut price deal, and sometimes, especially, I've seen this club get relegated to the 3rd tier. That's how big of a fall off they can have. So if you keep an eye on him, you can usually get a bargain. And what a player he is, able to play on either wing, technically really good, but he's got everything he needs in the FM in-match engine to be dangerous, with the deadly pace, the agility. He's going to go direct at a man, he's going to dribble past them, and then he's going to create a chance, because he can finish, he can pass, and he always grows into one of the world's best wingers in so many of my saves. And with only 2 players left to go, we are getting close to the end now, so make sure you drop your suggestions down in the comments. But my next pick is someone I know was upgraded in the winter update, Jonathan Rowe. And what a player this guy is. 20 years of age, an English winger who is just brilliant on either side. He scores goals, he creates chances. I'm not saying he's the best like with all of these players. I'm not saying they are the best, but for me, I've had so much success with him. He's probably signed for me in 4 or 5 different rebuilds at this point now since that winter upgrade, and he is good enough for any mid to low level Premier League team, and with some development, with the chances, he will grow to be a top 6 level winger, especially when you see how cheap you can get him for from Norwich. He will play a lot of football for them, he'll do really well, and he is the kind of player that will develop in pretty much every save. He's not a player that's got to wait 5 years before he breaks into Norwich's team. He is already their best, so if you just keep an eye on him, watch him develop, you will be able to sign an unbelievable winger. But speaking of watching players develop, there's nothing more satisfying than Samu Omoridian's growth in-game, because this guy maybe isn't the best striker technically, but in what counts in this year's match engine, physicals, he is so good. Obviously an Atletico Madrid player, was loaned out to Deportivo Alaves and will start there. In real life, I think he's moved to Porto, I believe it was, after Chelsea had some initial interest, but forget about all that. In FM, you'll find him on loan, and his physical attributes are already so good at age 19. In a couple years, all of them pretty much will be 16s, 17s. I've seen him in a few saves with dark greens and every single attribute in this physical section, which is so good to see. It makes him a monster of a threat. People can't deal with him speed-wise, they can't deal with him in the air, and he's stronger than them as well. Add in some good mentals, which he does have, and some decent technicals where he has what he needs to. 13 finishing, dribbling ability that's okay, and first touch that's okay. It does not matter. This guy's physicals are so good, and for me, he's my favourite striker in this year's game. So there you go, there's 11 of my favourite players with some honourable mentions as well, but let me know your favourites in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about them. Thank you for watching, thanks for all the support on the FMSCOUT channel throughout this year. We will still do some more FM24 videos, but I imagine we're getting towards the end of it now. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.